I think it's exciting that we live in an age now where we can share and get out to the world like, hey guys, we can do this different.
Yeah.
We can be better men. We can be more vulnerable. We can be more honest. We can be more gentle. You can be strong and gentle at the same time.
Yes.
In fact, someone who truly is strong is actually gentle at the same time, because you have to have both.
You do.
Strength without gentleness is not strength. It's meaningless, because you can't actually activate it in divine harmony.
Right. It becomes brutality, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Strength without gentleness is brutality. It's domination, it's oppression, and it's force.
Yeah.
You know, but strength with gentleness is energy.
Yes. Yes.
Different than force. It's an energy.
Yes. Something really hit me so deeply when you were talking earlier about that paradigm that exists of the two extremes of the man obsessed with the toxicity of strength and the man that is utterly devoid of the healthy aspects of masculinity. It reminds me of a time in my journey when I first came to confrontation with the ugliness of some of the things that I had learned. In the beginning part of my own deconstruction, I had a point where I wholeheartedly, 100% and entirely rejected everything masculine because I had such an explosive reaction to seeing the harm that was being inflicted to other people from some of these unhealthy aspects. I wasn't able to differentiate, and I threw the baby out with the bathwater. There was a point for a long part of my time where I had so much energy. I had a lot of charisma. I was really intense, and I loved being intense. I had so many of the aspects of what a strong man had: gusto, passion, fervor. And I became so caught up in timidity and guilt and fragility and fear and undeservedness and the thought that I should be the last person talking to you. I was policing myself in every waking moment instead of living in communion. And that way that I rejected the healthy aspects, the dependability, the gentleness, the communication, the specificity, the boundaries, the ability to listen. Even when I was quiet, I wasn't able to listen to other people because I was so obsessed with, am I being quiet enough? Am I being quiet enough? And
wow, you really, yeah.
Unhealthy way for me to be small. And as I let go of that which didn't serve me, I had to build myself up again after that point. Now, after years of work, I finally feel in a place where I have found my rooted presence again. And that reunion was so beautiful. But what you said really stirred that experience in me of what happened when I lost everything about masculinity.
Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that, because that is actually a poignant, powerful, and beautiful self-analysis of your process.
Thank you.
And I think it's almost your micro process is kind of like, to me, an example of the macro reality of what's happened with men and thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of men on the macro level of not trusting themselves anymore, going to the wrong end of the spectrum, into that weakness, into that indecisiveness, into that lack of passion, that lack of fervor, and wanting to take responsibility. And they've gone to the other end of the spectrum. And so now it's all good, man. Everything goes. They don't want to say, no, don't do that.
Right.
They don't want to say, hey, that's wrong. Hey, bro, it's all good. Yeah. And that's too much relativity, because it's not all good. There's a lot of things that aren't good. And as a man, you got to be able to take charge and say what's not all good. And so I think what you just shared there was a really powerful little testimony that I think would help a lot of men grow. So I appreciate you sharing that, because, and you know what, we're going to have those moments all throughout our ascension in this life.
Yes.
We're going to keep growing. It's not like you've arrived and you're perfect now. You're going to have another process where you've come through just as I am, and we're going to keep deconstructing, keep learning, keep getting more balance. But the process you got to is, wow, I'm actually being too weak. I've lost trust in myself.
Yes.
And I'm appeasing this guilt.
Yes.
Basically this, and it's almost this macro guilt of all men, collective, and it's affecting my own personal psyche, and I'm becoming weak in a lot of ways. And, you know, that process you had is powerful and needs to happen for millions of men, and it will continue to happen in different ways in our lives as we grow as men, as we heal. It's constantly refining, you know, and